タート。
Good morning, everyone. We will start Group 1 presentation about to decrease your trans fatty acids intake. Firstly, I will talk about introduction. The background of this research. There are many kinds of oils in the world, and oil is essential for human. However, trans fatty acids cause disease. Then, I talk about why trans fatty acids cause disease. There are two types fatty acids, cis types and trans type. Cis type has lower melting point than that of trans types. So cis types become lipid. On the other hand, trans fatty acids become solid and increase low density lipoprotein. The low density lipoprotein is cause of disease, such as CHD and CVD allergic symptoms. Please look at this figure 1. This figure shows number of deaths of CHD because of trans fatty acids. Blue bars the number of deaths, and the curved line shows cumulative percentage. And dashed line, 15 countries account for 80%. And sum up 53,000 people dead in the world. The purpose of this research is to suggest substitute for the trans fatty acids by experiment. Next, hypothesis, please, Ikegami.
We hypothesize that oil makes it easier for blood vessels to accumulate and block because the chemical structure of oil is trans and sterically large. Therefore, we thought that the blood flow would be easily stopped, which would cause diseases such as arteriosclerosis. Currently, oil rich in trans fatty acids are used in many dishes. Our group is wondering if there is a healthy alternative to this. We conducted an experiment to make healthier products, as you can see the table. We made cookies which contain the highest trans fatty acid in familiar foods. We evaluated it from 5 perspectives: taste, texture, aroma, and price to find a healthy alternative oil. Next speaker is Wataru.
WHO, an international organization, has determined that the intake of trans fatty acid from foods should be up to 1% of the total energy to prevent the lifestyle-related disease. The average amount of energy a Japanese person consumes in a day is 1,900 kilocalories. So 1% of this is about 2 grams. In contrast, the average daily intake of trans fatty acids by Japanese is 0.99 to 0.96 grams. Next, look at figure 3. Figure 3 shows the content of trans fatty acids in familiar oils, such as oils that can be purchased at convenience stores and supermarkets. From figure 3, the amount of trans fatty acid per 100 grams in oil is far higher than that of margarine. So, considering WHO and figure 3, if you eat 10 to 20 grams of margarine, you will easily exceed the daily intake standard. So we experiment to reduce trans fatty acid and eat deliciously, looking for a substitute for margarine for cookies. Next to Miss Och.
The purpose of this experiment is to consider low trans fatty acid content cookie. I will tell you about the method of this experiment. First, make cookies by using 3 oils which have low trans fatty acid content and margarine. Next, evaluate these cookies and take a questionnaire. This is questionnaire content. Please use the following table to evaluate cookies. The cost is the price per 12 sheet. Margarine is 175 yen. Olive oil is 178 yen. Rice oil is 170 yen. And sunflower oil is 169 yen. These costs based on price that are generally available. Please judge whether this price is suitable or not. Look at this table 1. This table shows evaluation criteria method. There are 5 evaluation items, and cookies are evaluated at 5 levels. It is deliciousness, texture, eating quality, aroma, and cost. And we used these ingredients. Common ingredients are flour, sugar, and egg. Comparing ingredients are margarine, olive oil, rice oil, and sunflower oil. Next, result of this experiment. Total 37 people cooperated with this questionnaire. Look at this figure 4 to figure 7. These figures show the average of the scores evaluated each type. Figure 4 is margarine. It was found that this cookie was the softest, but it had the least sweetness and eating quality. Overall, this cookie didn't have something unsatisfactory, and this price was high for taste. Figure 5 is olive oil. It was found that this cookie was the hardest, but it tasted like a crunchy cookie. It had the strongest aroma and had the best balance of sweetness. Figure 6 is rice oil. It was found that this cookie had best texture for its appearance and had the second strongest aroma. And it was the sweetest cookie. Overall, this is the best balance. Figure 7 is sunflower oil. It was found that this cookie had the least aroma, but it has the second best deliciousness, texture, eating quality, and this cookie's sweetness comes later. The price was low for good taste. According to this result, the best cookie was olive oil, and the least cookie was margarine. But each person has their own taste, so result was split. In addition, we distinguished which cookie they prefer by age. Look at this figure 8 to figure 10. It was found that teens to 50s people had different taste, and teens tend not to like olive oil. But all 60s to 70s people liked olive oil. Next consideration, Ayaka, please.
In consideration on the premise that whether it can be substituted by other oil depends on the like of yourself food tastes. However, 60s and over often like olive oil. The intake of junk food by young people are more time than those of old people. Therefore, the intake of trans fatty acid is also high, and perhaps they like the similar taste. The result of this time may be in line with the usual taste of intakes. Further, from an industrial point of view, to make the cookies cost labor cost, electronic power, packaging cost, in addition to the cost of oil, so it is difficult to determine the substitute. Sunflower oil was the most popular in the teens, olive oil was the most popular in the 30s, and olive oil was the most popular in the 60s. However, the cost of these cookies were almost the same with that of margarine. So it can be enough said that other oils can be substituted with margarine when we cook it in home. The impression that we tried the experiment and study, although I couldn't find out the realistic industrial aspect of this experiment, there was a new discovery that it was delicious even if the trans fatty acid contains a little, and I gained much things from this experiment. In fact, I felt the rice oil tasted better than margarine, and I was happy to get the idea that I may find some good substitute for bad things in daily lives to lead my life healthy. I want to apply the other things. I'm glad I know the danger of the fat I usually eat. In summary, the average intake of trans fatty acid by Japanese was below the intake determined by WHO, so it is not danger. Nevertheless, it is better to reduce the intake of trans fatty acid for the sake of your health. Also, depending on the preference for food at home, it is possible to cook alternatives that more people can feel better in perspective of cost, taste, and texture. There will be substitutes for margarine when making things other than cookies. So if you think and change them, you can lead your healthy life. It's good not to eat too much or too short. So be careful about your intake and lead a healthy life. Thank you for listening.